Hello guys, today I want to share a really fun Stamina Sorcerer build with you. Full disclosure, this is not the strongest 1vx Stamina Sorcerer this patch. If you're looking for the strongest meta build, this is not it, but this is a very fun build that you can still achieve really good results with. This is the crazy brainchild of my friend Vinjack. He has played Stamina Sorcerer a hell of a lot. And this is a sort of very enjoyable take on the classic Stamina Sorcerer. The basic premise of this build is combining the set pets, so namely Maw of the Infernal and Morkuldan, which also counts as a pet, together with the Malakath Band of Brutality and the Daedric Prey skill. So this causes the target that we cursed to take 20% extra damage from all of our pets. We've got 3 pets here. We've got the Unstable Clanfear, we've got the Morkuldan Sword, which is up all of the time, and we've got the Maw of the Infernal, which is up a majority of the time as well. And between the 3 of these, you're sort of a one-man army walking around with 3 pets in tow, and in small fights or against a single person, you can very, very quickly take them down. Think of this almost really as a dot pressure build with a bit of burst built in. And overall it's extremely strong. Almost forgot the 4th pet, which is obviously our charged Atronach as well. But let me go through the sets and skills systematically, and then we'll show the build in action. So on the front bar we are running the Master's Perfected dual wield. This doesn't need to be the Perfected, and this doesn't necessarily need to be a mace and an axe, but I found these to be optimal. These give us extra damage on our twin slashes, both the initial hit as well as the bleed as well. Stamina Rock doesn't have a native spammable as of yet. I do see exciting changes in the PTS coming up, but as for now we need to sort of choose between this or something like Dizzy Swing for our main spammable. But we've gone with the Perfected Stinging Slashes set. This is very, very good because it does a decent amount of upfront damage as well as persistent damage over time for pressure, which fits the rest of the build mentality really well. On the back bar we are running the Master's Perfected Sword and Shield. Again, it doesn't need to be perfected. All you lose is the 3% healing taken boost in the back bar. Very easy to farm this in normal Dragonstar Arena if you don't want to go through Vet. This is a really useful back bar set because Puncture, specifically the Ransack morph, does a lot for Stamsork because Stamsork doesn't come across any native major fracture, and it's not got any native minor protection either. So if we're going to be puncturing, which we want to be doing because it also increases the fracture, increases the damage from our pets and our procs, we might as well be getting some healing when we do it as well. So this works really well on the back bar. Then, as you can see, we are running 2-piece Maw of the Infernal, heavy helm, and medium shoulders. This doesn't have to be infused. This is me just being a bit lazy and not trait changing this. Impen or reinforced or well fitted or sturdy. Any of those 4 traits are probably a bit better. Maw of the Infernal procs when we deal damage with a light or heavy attack, and the Daedroth is extremely powerful. Even though we're a stamina build, we still get really good damage out of the Daedroth's Fire Breath, and his melee attacks obviously get boosted by our CP as well. Then the main body piece, we are running 5 heavy Morkuldan, 4 impen and 1 sturdy on the legs there. This is an excellent set piece. When you deal damage with a light or heavy attack, you summon an animated weapon. The animated weapon's basic attacks deal 5500 physical damage, and this can occur once every 15 seconds with a 15-second uptime. So this is up all the time, and again, this just follows you around and just adds extra pressure and extra damage. The damage of this is pretty strong actually. It's you can't really ignore this. This adds a significant amount of damage to your overall setup. And then just to round things out, we're running 2-piece Agility to get the 2-piece Max Stam and the Malakath Band of Brutality, infused with the Try Recovery Glyph. Just to show quickly how this works. So we curse the target, and then our sword and our clanfear are attacking it, and then generally speaking when we heavy attack we get our Daedros to spawn as well, and the pets just eat the target alive. The nice thing with running dual wield and the Maw of the Infernal is because this has a 33% chance to proc whenever we deal damage with a heavy attack. Because the dual wield heavy attack is 2 hits, you can see that it's got a very high likelihood of proccing Maw of the Infernal. And as you can see, our pets just eat these Daedra alive. Just to show you the heal of puncture, so you can see it's a nice 3k heal, not too bad. And just to demonstrate the twin slashes as well, you can see that it does fairly decent damage even as just a spammable. Now, one thing to note, you want to learn how to direct your pet's aggro on this build. So what you want to be doing is there's 2 ways to make your pet's target an enemy. Your Daedric Prey acts as a soft taunt, so the pets will target whatever enemy you've got Daedric Prey, but you can also get them to switch their aggro by heavy attacking. And you can see my Daedroth turns around and starts attacking this guy instead. So yeah, this is why this is a one-man Zerg. It's you and your 3 pets following you around, just clearing up bad guys as you go. I should probably go over the skills in turn. We are running on the front bar Whirling Blades as an execute, Streak as a sort of gap closer, a stun, a mobility tool. This is an excellent skill, really defining Sorcerer skill. Rending Slashes as our main spammable and as a damage over time. We are running this morph in particular because it does extra damage on the initial hit, and also the snare is really nice because the pets can be a wee bit slow sometimes, and if you're fighting someone who's got high mobility, the pets sometimes fail to keep up with them, so it's nice to have a built-in snare on our main spammable. Daedric Prey, as I've explained before, this is what causes all of our pets and procs to do 20% extra damage to the target. And then we're running the Clanfear on both bars. Now, the heal on the Clanfear is quite nice because it's health based, so you can see here, even though it's a ability that costs magicka, the actual heal itself isn't too shabby, even in Cyrodiil. So this is really nice to have as well. The Charged Atro, this is a really, really strong skill. When you get this down, along with all of your other pets, it's an incredible amount of sustained damage and pressure. We're using the morph that does the AoE stun, because the other morph, although it's got a bit more health and it lasts a bit longer, typically most good players will move out to the range of the Storm Atro after a period of time. This is really useful though when you're being swarmed by multiple enemies and you want to sort of lock down a location and fight around it. On the back bar we're running Ransack. As I mentioned, this is a really, really strong skill on Stamsork. It also procs our Master's Sword and Shield. We have to double bar the Clanfear to make sure it doesn't unsummon when we swap bars. Hurricane for a bit of mobility, some AoE damage and our armor buffs. Vigor as a heal over time, and then Power Surge for our major brutality. This is the morph that heals off critical heals. Because we're running Malakath, we can't deal any critical damage, but the nice thing about this is when we've got this active and we use our Vigor, for example, you can see whenever we get a crit Vigor tick, we get an extra tick off the crit surge as well, so the power surge, sorry. So that's quite nice actually, just boosting our overall healing abilities as well. And then our backbar ulti is Spell Wall. This is really nice because there's a lot of high damage projectiles at the moment, and being able to reflect them all back, be they snipes or crystal frags or overload light attacks, is extremely useful. This lets us play out in the open a bit longer than we otherwise would be able to. Looking at our character sheet, we're running a fairly chunky health pool at 32,000. This is achieved by putting 12 points into health, running 5 heavy and having tri-stack glyphs on everything. This is important because we are essentially a proc build, so we don't need to build really highly into stamina or into weapon damage. But what we do need to build into is the ability to stay alive while our pets and our procs do their thing, which is why we are running such a high health pool. And like I mentioned, also the high health pool synergizes really well with the Unstable Clan Fear, because that's a health-based heal. So the higher our health pool, the better the heal off that as well. Buffing up, you can see we have 3k weapon damage and 32-ish k max stamina, so not the highest stats, but they're definitely enough to get the job done alongside all of the procs that we're running and the Malakath Band of Brutality. On the back bar, you can see that we're relatively tanky with 3.5k crit resist and 25k physical and spell resist as well. When we take a potion, we can see that our recoveries are very decent across the board as well. It's nice to have a decent health recovery, and you need Magicka to cast some of your Magicka skills, and having high stamina recovery just lets you stay a bit more mobile on the battlefield as well. We are running the Artaeum Takeaway Broth, and we are running the Lover Mundus Stone, because this not only boosts the damage of our Morkuldan, it also boosts the damage of our Maw of the Infernal, both the Flame Breath as well as the melee attacks as well. And like I said, it's these procs don't scale with weapon or spell damage, but they do scale with your penetration and your sort of flat damage done modifiers. Getting into the champion points, we are running 56 Warlord, 1 Siphoner, 27 Healthy, 19 Tenacity, 75 Mooncalf. This gives us Wind Running, 40 Tumbling, 52 Shadow Ward. We can block a decent amount on this build if need be. 49 Blessed. Stamsword can sometimes struggle a bit with their healing, so it's good to pump this as high as we reasonably can. 66 Master at Arms. Nothing into Precise Strikes because we're running Malakath, but we're running 37 Thaumaturge, 62 Piercing, and 56 Mighty. Onto the Red Tree, 56 Ironclad, 8 Spell Shield, 8 Medium Armor Focus. This is a mistake. This should not be here. This should be in Heavy Armor Focus. And 42 Resistant, 43 Hardy, 43 Elemental Defender, 40 Thick Skin. This gives us Unchained, and then 27, 3, 8. So like I say, this is more of a fun theme build, but it can net you some quite interesting results, as I can demonstrate in some of the gameplay coming up. The sort of key mentality with this build is to not rush straight into the middle of a large pack of enemies. You want to sort of use your mobility and your streak to break up the fight into smaller chunks, line of sight with your speed, and finish off targets one at a time if possible. Anyway, let me jump into some gameplay commentary, and I'll try and talk through what's going on in the clips, so I'll see you there. Okay, for the first clip I'm going to bring you a Battlegrounds match, and I'll have some Cyrodiil clips later on after that. I thought I'd show the Battleground match first just because I think this is probably the environment in which this build is the strongest. Procs proportionally tend to do more damage in low CP environments. This build is still very useful in Cyrodiil, but if you really want to see this excel, this is definitely the environment to be using it in. So we hop down into the middle. There's a big three-way fight going on here. We try and isolate two of these red targets and take them out fairly quickly. The great thing about Stamstroke is that you're really, really fast with your streak. It is very good at creating space. This guy appears to be a pet Sork who's healing up over and over with his Twilight. We managed to stun him. He's not able to break there. His teammate comes through, we drop the Atro on him, and he goes down very, very quickly. As you can see, we've got a literal army following us around. The only one of our pets who can take hits for us is actually the Clan Fear, but it's fairly tanky actually, and it can eat enemy ultimates, enemy attacks, just like the Engine Guardian can, for example. This guy doesn't like the look of our build. He starts to run away. We keep on him with Streak, curse him up, dot him up, all of our pets spawn, and he goes down. So in contrast to some of my previous builds, this is not necessarily a burst build. This is much more of a sustained damage build, but we've got a lot of dot pressure with our twin slashes with the Master Dual Wield, as well as all of our pet damage as well. We're looking around here, seeing if there's a suitable fight to jump down into. We can see some enemies coming up there, but we don't want to go straight into them. We'll see what our teammates are doing. Our teammates seem to be pretty happy just holding their spawn point. So I'll sort of act more as a rover, kind of running around, picking up targets, bringing them back to the teammates if need be. Starting to take some heat here, so because we're very fast in the Sandstruck, we're able to line of sight quite easily. I failed to block this meteor here, so what I end up doing here is I just use my shield ultimate as sort of an offensive ultimate here. I know the guy tends to be using ranged attacks, so if he continues to attack me, he'll just be damaging himself, and I secure the kill that way. Once again, teammates are more than happy just to chill up here, and we'll be the one to jump down and try and start a fight. So there's a bunch of reds here. Come up behind them, dot them up, streak through them to stun them, and these guys are taking a lot of damage and they fall fairly quickly. Our pets are chasing someone downstairs, which tells me that there's an enemy down there. That's the other useful feature about the pets, they sort of point at enemies to you. These two guys are fighting, we come in, sprint them in, finish them both off. Cheeky little double kill there. Now we can see just at the corner that there's a couple of reds coming this way. We go through to engage them, isolate them, stun them, get the pets on them. One goes down. This other guy's laid down some mines. He goes down due to our teammate. Now we're slightly low on resources and we're engaged on by this Petsork here. He's throwing a scamp at us. Well, time for us to show him what a true Petsork is. He goes down. The Daedric is very strong, and the Daedric does a lot of damage. Here we find ourselves in a slightly bad position with low health. We streak through them defensively, break line of sight, and are able to heal ourselves up quite easily. That's the thing to remember really on a Stamsork, is that you're not a tank, you're not a Dragon Knight or someone who can really stand in the middle of the fight and just soak up all the damage. Your heals aren't strong enough for that. So you really want to use advantage of the speed and the line of sight, heal up when necessary, and then come back in and continue the fight. We've got good recoveries, so we're very free to engage in and out. This green leads us up here to his team spawn, and we're jumped by two of his teammates as well. At this stage, it's a very nice confined space for us to drop the Atro down, stun this guy with the Atro, and sprint him in to finish him off. One guy left, we streak through him, we curse him up so that he's taking extra damage from all of our pets. That stairway is just a death zone for anyone who comes through there. We end up taking a nasty beetles from one of the other team, one of the greens. So we again use the mobility on the Stamsork, streak away, break line of sight, resummon our Clanfear, and are able to re-engage on him. Dot him up, sprint him in, and he goes down, and that's actually the end of the game there. 19-4, 19-0-4, not too bad. Anyway, moving on to some Cyrodiil clips. So, as I was talking about before, what you want to be doing is really staying on the periphery of the big team fights. Try and rile up some people to follow you, and then streak away a few times and get them to split up from the rest of their horde. And then it's much safer for you to then engage them. Look at our Clanfear taking a powerful like a champ. This guy follows us behind the tree, he's made a big mistake, he's dotted up, misses his Dawnbreaker, we drop the Atro and he goes down. Just to show, even against Templars, we're able to purge a lot of dots. The build still hits really hard. This is just a demonstration of sort of in the 1v1 how much damage you can expect from this build. The stat page really underrepresents the amount of damage you've got in this build. You can very quickly overwhelm people with multiple dots and proc sets, and they go down fast. This is more of a chaotic team fight here at Bleakers. We have just started to engage here. Once again, we're not wanting to get right into the thick of things on the porch. We want to sort of keep our distance, use our streak and our mobility, and split the fight up into smaller chunks that we are able to deal with. This guy follows us through. He's line of sighting around the pillar, and there's a lot of red on the floor. I maybe don't want to follow him through there. Like I say, I'm just staying on the periphery of the fight, trying to find someone who I can start a fight with. This guy, I'm not sure what he's doing back here. We go in, start dotting him up, he leaps us, and then we get ambushed and leapt by 2 of his teammates. So we're in a bit of trouble here. We roll dodge a couple of times, streak for mobility. At this stage, you know, these guys are staying on us, so we pop our sword and shield out. Then we turn around and start burning them down. Dot him up, curse him up, streak through him to stun him, and quickly take him out with our execute. This mag DK has followed us up to the tree. We've got all of our pets on him. He's wanted to get back to the Zerg, but we're not going to let him. He's really dotted up. We streak through and are able to spin to win to finish him off. This clip is just to show when you're not able to actually stay on the periphery of the fight and you are engaged in the centre of a big team fight. Stamp Strokes are very powerful at busting a group. Drop your active through them, streak through them to stun them all, and then spin to win. You can do that with very, very good results. Now this is the final clip. This is a slightly lengthy clip. Quite a fun story with this clip, as you'll see as it progresses. We're at Fort Arius and we're engaged on by a yellow Stam Templar. Templar's probably going to be your worst matchup here because they will be able to purge a lot of the dot pressure that you're doing on them with your twin strikes. But like I say, we keep on him. If he if he purges your dots, the nice thing about using twin slashes as a spammable is that you can just reapply them basically for free. And he can't purge any of our pets. He's in a bit of trouble here. He realises quite rightly that he needs to get out of range of the Storm Atro. He's been able to heal himself back up nearly to full, but the sustained damage that our pets are doing onto him just means that he's not able to go on the offensive at all, and we take him out. This is a poor low CP guy who just instantly melts. What we start doing now is we set up some siege and see if we can get some more people to come out. I'm not expecting to take this keep necessarily, I just want to see how far I can get. It's the same Stamper as before. He comes in, engages us on our siege. Now, one really nice thing you can do with your Storm Atro is that you can use it defensively to sort of lock down an area, and that's what I do here. I drop it on top of my siege so that whenever the guy comes to stop us from sieging, he will get hit by the Storm Atro. He comes in here, he goes very, very offensive, but he doesn't really look after his own health too much, and the sort of surprise damage from the Daedric gets him. We manage to break through, and we're killing the guards, and then we are engaged by a low CP but very high health, nearly 40k health Red, who I think is quite new to this game. I'm not sure he's doing anything too threatening, so we carry on with our plan just to see how far we can get. We set up some siege, and some of the Red's buddies arrive and start attacking us. And we're taken slightly by surprise, so I drop an ulti on this guy. The combined damage of all of the pets is very, very strong. Bit of lag there with the streak, but as you can see, with all the pets chasing him, it's quite intimidating actually to be on the other side of that. So anyway, we continue sieging, and then I see this guy getting rezzed. I see his teammates coming through again, and instead of engaging them, I think, well, I'm out of ballistas at this point, so why don't I just break away, and why don't I let the Reds siege, and then once they're through the door I can engage on them. What I fail to realise though is just how slow these Reds are going to be at sieging. Excuse me. While we're hiding up on the wall, some Red gets curious as to why there's a giant dinosaur up on the wall. He comes to investigate. Unfortunately we have to drop down to finish him off. Our cover is sort of blown here, but we're able to get away, and the Reds are so engaged with our pets that they don't follow us up onto the wall. At this stage I realise these Reds are taking forever to siege, so I just very casually go and take the farm there, just to get the attack buff, and then I re-engage just as these guys have gone through and are on the first flag. They're in a nice clump there, so just as before we can drop our Atro onto them and just spin to win, do a ton of AoE damage and take them out. This guy goes into his Necro ulti, so we disengage off him, leave him for last, go to this Mag Templar, not able to keep up with our dots. This guy is just chilling in his Necro form, so I've split things up a bit. He's just delaying the inevitable at this stage. He goes down, and now we're free to capture this keep for ourselves. Anyway, that's it for clips. Give this build a shot, off meta but still very, very fun. Thanks for watching. Any questions, leave them below, and I'll see you next time.